what's going on, guys? It's Brooks here, and today I have a new video for you. It is my up-to-date current 2020 Senate map prediction and how I see it's going to go down. So I'm not going to waste any time, I'm just going to get into it. I think Oregon on the West Coast will be safe. I think Alaska will be safe for the Republicans. Wyoming, Idaho will be safe. Montana I will be coming back to. South Dakota and Nebraska are both safe for the Republicans. Kansas and Kansas will be coming back to as well. Oklahoma, I think, safe. I think Texas with John Cornyn honestly is safe. This is the first time putting this characterization. There really isn't a strong Democratic candidate, and John Cornyn is very popular, more popular than Ted Cruz and President Trump by a lot. So I think John Cornyn will win his seat in a safe margin. Louisiana and Arkansas both, I think, are the safe column. Mississippi is borderline likely to safe. Cindy Hyde Smith, she isn't really the best candidate, but I think she still wins in Mississippi pretty easily. Alabama, I do think will be less than safe, so we'll come back to that. Tennessee, I think, is a safe margin. Kentucky, we're going to come back to. Did I say Kentucky or Alabama? I meant Alabama for this one. West Virginia is going to be safe. South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, I don't see much competition there. That's going to be safe. Illinois is going to be safe for the Democrat. Oh, okay. Illinois is going to be safe for the Democrats. There we go. I think that Delaware is going to be safe. New Jersey will be safe. Rhode Island and Massachusetts will be safe. I'm happy that they're finally putting out new polls for the Kennedy versus Ed Markey race. I still think Joe Kennedy is going to win, but it's still interesting to see it being covered. New Hampshire and Maine I'm going to come back to as well. State of Virginia, it's borderline. I think Virginia is kind of like Mississippi, where it could be likely or it could be safe. It's really close. I'm going to say probably safer Virginia, I'd say. The state of New Mexico, there really isn't too much competition on the Senate side. I'd put that in the safe column as well. 43 Republican seats, 43 safe Democratic seats. This is where the map starts right now. And for starters, I think that Minnesota is in the likely Democratic column. I think Jason Lewis, I think he has more name recognition than, say, other previous Republican candidates in Minnesota, but I think Tina Smith is still pretty popular as a senator. She's not really in too much trouble to lose there. She should win her re-election attempt. Next, I want to go to the state of Alabama. I've been saying this. Alabama is not going to be close on Election Day. Alabama, Doug Jones only won last time because Roy Moore was a terrible candidate. It was a special election, so turnout was very low, and he only won by about 2 points. I mean, against any regular Republican Senate candidate, Tommy Tuberville or Jeff Sessions should easily crush Doug Jones. It's not going to be close at all. It's going to be a likely margin, somewhere within 5 to 10 points, I'd say. Now, I think the state of Georgia, this is David Perdue's Senate seat. Not the special election. This is David Perdue's seat. I think the Senate election for David Perdue is going to go in the likely column. He has a very good approval rating, and I think Jon Ossoff is running against him. However, I don't think Jon Ossoff really has a chance of winning. If he wanted to win, he should have ran for the special election. But nonetheless, I think Georgia, the state at large, David Perdue will be likely. The special election I'm going to come back to because I think that will be closer than likely. The state of Kansas, right now, I'm putting in the likely column because if Chris Kobach does become the nominee for the Senate, it's a big wild card on whether or not he can actually win this race. Chris Kobach's not a popular candidate. He's not really a popular guy in Kansas. He lost the governor's race back in 2018. I mean, play devil's advocate, one-on-one race. We've seen a lot of these polls between one-on-one Chris Kobach and the Democratic nominee. It's been very close, so if it is Chris Kobach, I expect this to go down to lean, maybe even tilt Republican for now, but it's something to keep an eye on, Kansas. The state of Kentucky, I'm comfortable at this point putting Kentucky in the likely column. I think every election cycle they try and get Mitch McConnell out, the Democrats, they try and get him out, and he always ends up winning big on Election Day. And I think that's going to happen again. I think Amy McGrath is probably his best opponent he's ever had to go up against. She's a very good candidate. She's raised a lot of money. However, that being said, this is not an Andy Beshear special governor election or governor election type situation. Mitch McConnell, this is a national race. Kentucky votes for Republican senators pretty much all the time, but are willing to vote for Democratic governors. Kind of like how Massachusetts votes for Democratic senators, but will always elect Republican governors. It's kind of like that. State level, they'll vote Democrat. National level, they'll always vote Republican. I think Kentucky stays with Mitch McConnell. Let's see, what do I want to go next? So stay in New Hampshire. New Hampshire, I'd put in the likely column for now. I think New Hampshire could have been close if the Republicans recruited a more name-worthy candidate. I think Corey Lewandowski, honestly, I think I would have made it close just because he has the name recognition and the money that he can make it more competitive. I'm not saying I don't think he would have won, but I'm saying he would have made it within like probably a 3-4 point margin, I'd say. Kelly Ayotte, if she decided to run, she can make that race competitive. Scott Brown, I think he can make the race competitive as well. The Republicans really have Don Bolduc, and I think it's either Bill O'Brien or Bryant Messer. I think Bryant Messer. There just really isn't a notable GOP candidate that can really challenge Jeanne Shaheen, especially considering Jeanne Shaheen is very popular in the state of New Hampshire. She's been around for a while. She holds good approval numbers. She's pretty much respected throughout the state. She's really not in much danger of losing here. So the rest of these states, I think, are going to be at least in the lean margin for where I think they're going to go. Starting off with Colorado, I think Colorado is probably the worst kept secret. We pretty much know Colorado is going to go in the lean Democratic column. Cory Gardner, I think he's in a very tough situation. He got a plurality of the vote back in a heavy Republican 2014 midterm. He's running against the former very popular governor, John Hickenlooper. Cory Gardner is one of the best campaigners the Republican Party has, to be honest, but even he's going to have a hard time trying to pull this one out. Maybe if his handling with Governor Jared Polis on the coronavirus meeting with President Trump a few days ago, maybe that helps him out a little bit, but in a state that's not really too fond of the president, I really don't see that aiding Cory Gardner much at all. I think Cory Gardner will overperform President Trump probably, though, but not by much, I'd say. So that gets Democrats to 46, Republicans to 47. I think I'm sticking with this. Arizona, I think Mark Kelly ends up winning Arizona by about a 2 to 3 point margin. Martha McSally, just for some reason, she is not a popular candidate. She lost in 2018, and after she lost, they appointed her senator, which does not make sense. You don't appoint someone who just lost to be senator. It's not really the best optic move, but nevertheless, Doug Ducey appointed her. She's in a tough position for re-election now. We have not seen a poll where she was winning for close to a year now. I think Martha McSally is pretty much going to lose this race, barring any great last-minute changes. The state of Iowa, I think Joni Ernst will win the state of Iowa. I've gone back and forth whether or not it's a likely or a lean margin. I'm just putting in the lean likely margin, probably like a 5 point win now for Joni Ernst. I'm just keeping it relatively close, keeping it safe. But I do think Joni Ernst is the clear favorite to win this race without a doubt. The state of Michigan, Gary Peters versus John James. John James, I continue to say he's one of the best Republican candidates in the state of Michigan, one of the best Republican candidates for Senate and for governor or whatever in the country. I think he was better off passing on this race and running for governor against Gretchen Whitmer in 2022. And I think he could beat Gretchen Whitmer, to be completely honest, especially if this whole coronavirus thing does backfire in the way it continues to for her. I think John James could definitely beat her. However, I don't see him winning a Senate race against Gary Peters. I think Gary Peters wins this race in about a lean margin, about 5 points probably. The state of Georgia special election, I'll put Georgia's special election in the lean. I do think Doug Collins will end up becoming one of the runoff candidates. And I did a video on this. I think the way Georgia works is the top two vote getters on election day advance to a runoff if no one gets more than 50%. I think it's going to be Doug Collins, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be Matt Lieberman's son, or no, Matt Lieberman is the name of it. Joe Lieberman's son, Matt Lieberman, I think will be the Democrat. And I think Doug Collins will end up winning and being the next senator from Georgia. Winning by like a 3-4 point margin probably. It'll be pretty close. So these are the three states we have left: Montana, North Carolina, and Maine. This hasn't really changed for a while. These are the three states that we keep going back to. Montana is interesting because Steve Bullock announced he is running, and that's why this race is close. And he is a very good candidate. I believe he's incumbent governor still. He ran for president, got his name out there. The people in Montana like him. The people in Montana like President Trump and Steve Daines as well. This race is really going to be really close. And to be honest, I'm not really too sure how this is going to go. I want to put this in the tilt Republican column right now, to be honest. I really think it could be in the tilt column right now. I think I want to put in the lean column, but I really just don't think it is. I think Steve Bullock's going to be able to drive up support and maybe potentially win in a presidential election year like he did for governor back in 2016. Plus, John Tester won in the midterm, so we know they do elect Democratic senators. So you never know; it's gonna be really close. The state of North Carolina, Tom Tillis. I think Tom Tillis' popularity has gone up. Cal Cunningham is a pretty good, formidable Democratic challenger against him. I think President Trump will probably help aid Tom Tillis win his Senate seat here. I'm seeing North Carolina in either like a lean or tilt margin. I mean, probably a lean margin as of now, I'd say. But nevertheless, I think Tom Tillis will hold on to the state of North Carolina. Maine, I'm going to take a total weak position on Maine. I'm putting Maine in the toss-up column. I've gone back and forth and flip-flopped on Maine so many times. I admit it. I have no idea what's going to happen in Maine. Maine, I thought like a while ago Susan Collins seemed like for sure she was going to win. Then all of a sudden Sarah Gideon looks like she was getting in the polls, so she's going to win. And now like Susan Collins is fighting back hard and raising money, and I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, this is going to be one that keeps going back and forth. I'm putting it in the pure toss-up column right now, and I honestly have no idea what's going to happen in Maine. So that's my updated prediction. I have the Democrats getting 48 seats, Republicans getting 51, holding the majority still, and the state of Maine being a pure toss-up at the moment that we need to continue to look at and decide at a later date. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Tap the bell icon so you always get notified when I post a new video, and I'll see you in the next one.